I left Germany to start a new life in Nairobi, but no one prepared me for the real cost of furnishing an apartment here. So one of the first things I had to figure out was, how do I furnish an apartment without breaking the bank? Whether it's for your own home or your first Airbnb, in this video I'm sharing exactly what I spent, how I saved, and everything I learned the hard way. Welcome to Plan Back to Africa. My name is Wayne, and on this channel I share my journey of leaving behind Germany to travel the African continent full-time together with my 2 children, and my experience of settling here in Nairobi, starting a business on the African continent, and as a cultural anthropologist and historian in African studies, I also love to share my experience and knowledge on the socio-political realities on the ground. Now, without any delay, let's dive straight in. Over the past few months, I've been on a mission, searching for a new place to live here in Nairobi. The main goal was simple. I needed to be closer to my children's school. But as anyone who's ever tried to relocate within a big city knows, what sounds simple on paper can turn into a long emotional process in real life. I viewed countless apartments and houses, most of them either too far, too expensive, or just not right. And as the weeks went by, my pressure grew, until one day I finally came across it, a 2-bedroom apartment in a beautiful estate. From the moment I arrived, I knew this is it. Not only was it affordable, just $400 per month, which is rare for what it offers, but the estate itself ticked every box. Clean, secure, family-oriented. It comes with a swimming pool, a gym, a basketball court, and a kids' playground, all included. It was the kind of environment I always wished for, where my kids could just be kids, outside, connected, and safe. And the best part, the apartment is located within the school bus zone, so I don't have to drop them or pick them up myself anymore. That alone has brought so much peace into our daily routine. No more sitting in traffic for hours, no more rushing, no more stress. That to me is real luxury, not the size of the house, but the rhythm of life it allows. So yes, the apartment is smaller than where we lived before, but it's also smarter. It serves our needs better. And beyond that, I saw potential, not just for us right now, but for the future. You see, while I moved in as a resident, I knew from the start that once I find a larger place near the school, I would like to convert this apartment into an Airbnb. And this location, it's perfect for it. The estate is situated near major embassies, the UN headquarters, and several international organizations. It's clean, it's quiet, it's secure, ideal for business travelers, expats, NGO workers, or even families visiting Nairobi. So as I started planning how to furnish the apartment, I wasn't just thinking about myself. I had 2 goals in mind: to make it comfortable for me and my children right now, and at the same time to create a space that would be inviting, practical, and unique for future Airbnb guests. But furnishing in Nairobi turned out to be more complicated than I expected. Growing up in Germany, the process is straightforward. You go to a large furniture store like IKEA, or you find second-hand pieces online on eBay or Facebook Marketplace. You can furnish a small apartment on a modest budget and still find things in great condition. Everything is systemized, efficient. So when I needed to start furnishing here, my first thought was, go to the mall. So I visited one of the most popular ones, Two Rivers Mall, and I was shocked. The prices were not just high, they were excessive. A regular 3-seater sofa for $1,400, a dining table for $2,000, a basic TV stand for $430, nothing custom made, nothing luxurious, just basic pieces with wicked price tags. I couldn't justify it. It simply didn't make any sense, especially for someone trying to furnish on a reasonable budget. But even beyond the price, there was something else that didn't sit right with me. The furniture felt disconnected. Most of it was imported. Standard designs that could be found in any country, any showroom. There was no cultural presence, no local character, no real story in the material or design. And as someone who deeply values African art, craftsmanship, and creativity, it felt like a missed opportunity. And on closer inspection, some of the quality was honestly questionable. Thin wood, lightweight construction, the kind of furniture that looks good now but might not survive long-term use, especially not with Airbnb guests coming in and out. So I made a choice. I decided I would not buy from the mall, at least not for the main pieces. Instead, I turned to Nairobi's local fundis, Kenya's carpenters, artisans, and mechanics. Skilled, creative, and deeply experienced, they are often working on the roadside with minimal tools but maximum talent. I had already seen their work before, especially during my time furnishing homes in Zanzibar, and I knew if you give them a photo and clear instructions, they can make almost anything. So I looked for inspiration in the furniture stores and online, noted the measurements, then I took the references to the local fundis. I showed them what I wanted, discussed the type of timber available, and placed my first orders. The process takes longer. A custom piece from a carpenter can take a few days, even up to a week. You also have to be more hands-on, coordinating delivery, checking progress, sometimes visiting multiple locations to pick everything up. But for me, it was worth every moment. Why? Because each item is custom built. The materials are real, often sourced locally. The design reflects my taste and values. And most importantly, I'm investing directly into small businesses and local talent, not just consuming, but participating in the local economy. Next, I began exploring open-air workshops and small stands. These spaces are full of handcrafted beds, bookshelves, rustic tables, and so much more. One of the first pieces I fell in love with was a rustic dining table made from cypress wood. It came with 4 chairs and a bench, and when I heard the price, I didn't even negotiate. Just $300 for the full set. Solid wood, great design, built to last. It was a clear win. But finding a couch was another story. I thought maybe Facebook Marketplace has some good deals. Spoiler alert, 90% of those listings were scams. Every other message came with a request for deposit before delivery. And fam, let me be clear. The moment someone asks for money before you've seen the item or even confirmed it exists, just know they're trying to scam you big time. Unfortunately, this happens often, especially when you're new or don't know the usual red flags. I kept searching and searching. Days passed and I started to get frustrated until I came across a small Kenyan business called TV Online. They create custom-made sofas and are based in the CBD area. So I went there the next day, and from the moment I walked in, I could tell they took their work seriously. I wasn't rushed. They took the time to consult me properly, help me choose the design, fabric type, and even the exact color. And just look at the variety of fabrics they offer. It was impressive. About 10 days later, the sofa was delivered. It was beautifully made and exactly the style I had asked for, but I found the cushions a bit too firm. I reached out to them, and to my surprise, they responded immediately. The very next day, they picked up the cushions, replaced the filling with pure fiber, which made a huge difference in comfort, and delivered them back just 2 days later. That level of customer care really stood out to me. It showed me that they are committed to making sure their clients are satisfied even after the sale. And all of that for just $540. Definitely worth it. Next up was beds. A friend of mine, the owner of Ubuntu Creative Village, connected me with the carpenter who built the furniture for his farmhouse. I had already seen his work months ago and was honestly in love. His style is raw, timeless, and built from massive wood. I immediately knew I had to place my order with him. So I got 1 queen-size bed for myself and 2 single beds for my kids. Total cost $700 for 3 strong, beautifully made beds. For mattresses, I went with Dr. Mattress, which I highly recommend if you're looking for a balance between comfort and durability. and I paid around $300 for all three. For the pillows, I kept it simple, $25 in total. And for duvets and sheets, I went to Kamukunji in the CBD, one of the best spots for home goods at affordable prices. I spent around $50 there and found decent quality. A small hack I want to share: sometimes the sheets you get aren't the perfect size for your duvet, but no worries, you can take them to any local tailor, also known as fundi, and get them adjusted for a few shillings. That's exactly what I did. Quick, simple, and way cheaper than trying to find the perfect fit in the malls. Then I needed to get kitchen essentials: fridge, gas cooker, oven, and small appliances. Luckily, most Nairobi apartments, including mine, came with built-in kitchen cabinets and wardrobes. This is a huge advantage, especially if you're coming from Germany, where often even the closets have to be bought separately. So that saved me a lot of money. Instead of heading back to the mall, I searched around and found a trusted local vendor who sells second-hand kitchen appliances. I paid $400 for a fridge and a gas cooker oven combo, both in excellent condition, clean and functioning like new. For my laundry machine, I chose to buy new. This is one item I don't recommend buying secondhand, especially when you want it to last. I paid $500 for a quality washer, and I also bought some kitchen utensils, including pots, pans, kettle, cups, cutlery, and dishes, and that cost me around $200. All bought from different small shops in the CBD. That's a fraction of what I would have paid in a mall for the same number of items. Now, let's talk about carpets. I bought a beautiful one from Mr. Carpet at a weekly market, and you can find these weekly markets across Nairobi, and I just paid $60. But I'll be honest, one is not enough. I plan to go back and get more in the coming days. And now my favorite part, decorating. I always start with plants because they bring so much life and calm to any space. Instead of spending ridiculous amounts on fake plastic plants, I bought real ones from a roadside vendor. Nairobi is a paradise when it comes to plant variety. Sometimes it really does feel like the Garden of Eden. I chose a large monstera and an even larger areca palm, especially because I have high ceilings in this apartment. For both plants, including their pots, which were massive, I paid around $60, and I also bought 3 small plants for my bookshelf, another $10, including pots. To bring in more color and texture, I wanted creative pots. The decorative ones in the mall were overpriced in my opinion. So I got basic clay pots from the plant vendors for $2 each, and then covered them with hand-woven African baskets I found from a street vendor for just $3 each. The effect? Natural, beautiful, and budget-friendly. For wall decor, I initially looked at woven African baskets, the kind you hang up as statement pieces. But in Gigiri, where I first saw them, I felt they were overpriced. I wasn't surprised though. Gigiri is one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Nairobi. So I did what I always do. I followed the trail. I researched the vendor's source of these baskets, and it led me to Kario Core Market. And fam, that place is a hidden gem. It's chaotic, yes, but full of color, creativity, and incredible prices. I was honestly overwhelmed by the amount of designs, but eventually I chose a beautiful selection and paid around $50 in total for enough baskets to fill my walls. One special piece in the house is a painting I bought 6 months ago at Ubuntu Creative Village, where they run a workshop that supports local artists. I remember seeing it and falling in love instantly. The saxophone, my favorite instrument, mint green, my favorite color. It was perfect. I paid around $60 including the frame, and now it sits right in my cozy reading corner. A few days ago, I ordered a sideboard for $120 from the same fundi who built my dining table, and I think it should be delivered next week. I'll also be adding some more plants, more art, and maybe a couple of handmade items from Masai Market soon. But one thing I've decided against for now is buying a TV. We've lived without one for the past year, and honestly, we don't miss it. Less noise, more presence, especially in a home where we prioritize connection, reading, and rest. That said, when the time comes to convert this apartment into an Airbnb, I'll definitely be adding a TV. I know it's something guests really value, whether they are staying for business or relaxation. It adds an extra layer of comfort and convenience that's important for great guest experience. So in total, I spent around $3,400 to furnish my 2-bedroom apartment. If you're someone in the diaspora dreaming of building a home base on the continent or looking to start your own Airbnb business in Africa, I hope this video gave you real insight, not just into the costs, but into the process as well. You don't need to have a massive budget, and you don't need to furnish everything in one day. What you do need is a clear vision, patience, and a willingness to trust the local talent around you. Nairobi and the African continent in general is full of skilled people, beautiful materials, and opportunities to create something that's truly yours. If this episode resonated with you, I want to invite you into something deeper. I'm building a growing community of people from the diaspora who aren't just dreaming about living or investing in Africa, but are actually taking real steps to build home bases here. Whether you're thinking about your first move, setting up an Airbnb, or just exploring what's possible, you don't have to figure it out alone. Through my newsletter, I share more of the behind the scenes, the wins, the lessons, the real numbers, as I build multiple home bases across the continent using Airbnb as one of my tools. If that's a journey you'd like to be part of, you will find the link to join in the description below. Let's stay connected, fam, and let's build something meaningful together.